the 7 principles are critical to guide what to do and how to do it. And I guess the first thing to highlight is the principle around involving stakeholders. So that's one principle. And the idea is that there's a power imbalance in how we do analysis and research, and we need to be able to tell the story from the perspective of those who are experiencing the change. So it's not just let's look down at some sort of benevolent dictator and say these are the changes that have happened. We need to go out there and hear the voices of those who are changing, who may not have a voice in policy discussions, and tell the story from their perspective. So an SROI, or social value analysis, should have a story for each different stakeholder group. So the first principle is around involving stakeholders and genuinely involving them, authentic engagement, not just, we collected a survey 4 years ago and this is what they said. It's like, let's really understand and interrogate that. So it means that the consultation and the conversations have to be semi-structured or open interviews. We have to be able to test those ideas with a number of different people over time and not just sort of land on one thing that we think is right, not just our idea. One of the other principles, already touched on a little bit, but it's really important, is around understanding what changes. So for each stakeholder group, understand what the changes are and tell that story. So that very much is talk to people, tell their story. They're sort of the first two. Another principle is around valuing the things that matter. And so what that means is that we are able to understand the relative importance of the different changes that occur, and if we can, use financial proxies to be able to value those changes, those financial approximations. So we talk to people, we tell the story, we value the most important stuff, or at least understand what's most important from that. There's a principle around a very exciting topic of materiality, which is about only including what is significant and relevant. It's a principle that's borrowed from accounting. So we can't tell everything, say everything. We've got to be able to hone in on the most important stuff. That's right across to who we speak to, who we include in the analysis, making sure that if we leave something, being careful, if we leave something out of the analysis, would that change the story for someone reading it? So being able to be really careful about considering what's significant and relevant and making a decision throughout the whole process. The fifth principle is do not overclaim, and this is where we ask questions like, would it have happened anyway? So if, for example, if Tai Tamariki program didn't exist, what would happen to these kids? Who else contributed to the change? So it's not just White Pereira, or is it, that's producing these changes? We ask questions like, how long do the changes last for? Which is really important when it comes to preventative health measures. And we're dealing with young people, 10, 13 years old. Whatever we do now, we've got to recognise that they're going through their teenage years soon afterwards. So we cannot claim that the changes are going to last forever. There's going to be other influences that occur in the future. So they're the types of questions that we ask in Do Not Overclaim. The sixth principle is about reporting and being transparent. So we've got to make sure that we're making lots of professional judgments. So we need to write it down so that people can see what decisions we made and why we made them. And the final principle is about verifying the results, making sure that what is reported is fed back to different stakeholders. And so it's not just sitting on the shelf, but verified by them over time. And particularly if it's a forecast analysis, if we are able to continue the investment to implement the program, can we then track those changes over time and verify the results? It's also a process of verifying the result where you get appropriate external verification, either through an external accredited practitioner or through the assurance process from the international network. They're the 7 principles.
Brilliant.
Yeah.